Hello, viewers, friends. A warm greetings to all of you. Myself, Habibur Rahman, host Community Talks PD platform. This is a community leaders platform that I mentioned so many times before. By the grace of Almighty, was created, was given us all facilities, was given that space still alive during this COVID-19 global pandemic. And today, let us share together and let us be connected today. Very glad and, of course, grateful to all of my friends, colleagues, guardians, students, foreign friends, and friends from around the world just to be connected with us. At the outset of my session today, live program today, I would like to say this is a platform of Community Talks BD and Community Talks YouTube channel, which is my passion, which is my long cherished dream. And during this COVID-19, I promised that I should do something for my friends, followers, students, families, researcher, academicians, and the underprivileged people around the world during this time. Through this platform, I just shared you before, this is a community leaders platform so that so many people can be together. And we are very happy today in this episode. We are very honored to have our guest, Victoria Spakano from Ukraine. Let us introduce you with our viewers, friends today. Victoria, hello.
Hello, Habibu, and I hope you are doing well. Thank you very much for inviting me today. I'm very happy to join you. And I would like to say that what you have been doing is very important, I think, because your talks have been uniting people. And I hope they give them also a lot of, support. So thank you to inviting me and so that I can be your guest today.
All right, thank you, Victoria. And let me introduce you and another guest. Actually, he's not yet joined us. Just a few minutes before he called me from India that he was just seeing off a COVID-19 patient in hospital and just went back home. So hopefully by half an hour, he will join us. And another, dear viewers, let me introduce Victoria. Victoria from Ukraine. She is coach. She is youth mentor, she is a social worker, she is a solution-focused practitioner, and overall, after all these things, she is a corporate trainer. So Victoria, we're very delighted to have you here, and another guest is in the panel today. He is a social worker from India, Mr. Amit Rajput, his name, and he is an academician, he is a researcher, he is a practitioner, social worker. He has a foundation that works for animal well-being. Actually, I just requested him to join today's session, how they are supporting this all kinds of after humanity. This is a part of great humanity. So we're very delighted to have you here. And before starting, actually, before go on, I would request you to, could you please share something about Ukraine and a neighbor country during COVID, how people and how your government is protesting and serving people together. So could you please continue, Victoria, please?
Yes. Thank you. I would concentrate a little bit on Ukraine and what is the situation now. At the moment, as of today, we've got 25,000 confirmed cases of COVID. And that's information I took from the Center of Public Health website. And out of these 25,000 people who have confirmed their COVID cases, 747 people died, unfortunately, but 11,042 people recovered from it. And this is a good situation, and this is a good example of starting to talk about the solution-focused approach, actually. Because what I have noticed, some people usually focus on deaths. And of course, this is awful that we are losing people.
Right.
At the same time, we've got this, a lot of cases of recovery. And this is something that we should also focus on, because a lot of people have coped with the disease. And so this is the experience which is much more valuable for us, because it gives us hope. It gives us some recipes of how to deal with this. Yeah, because COVID is, of course, very stressful. And like any other country, Ukraine has been going through a very difficult times, both economically and socially, and a lot of people could feel despair, for instance. What I have noticed, and I have written this recently, that some people are, I was reflecting on time, and some people, like, I think what I have been observing, some people, they were just, from my point of view, killing time because they were just waiting for this COVID to end, and they expected that the life would come back to normal. Yeah. All of us, we know that it will never come back to normal. It will come to something else. So if you are killing your time, you're just wasting your opportunities at this time. So the other big group of people, they were either using or misusing time, because they were trying to fill their time and their days with everything, so that they do not have time to reflect and to think and to actually construct their future. And they were trying to sign up for many courses. They were trying to read as many books as they could, etc. And this is a good strategy, of course, but still there is no time for thinking about what you would like to have in the future instead of this COVID. The wise strategy would be just to understand that COVID is just a different period of time. It is not like, you live your life and then hop, you stop, and there's a gap, and then you start to live your life again. No, this is just, you have been living your life, and in this life there is this period of time which is called COVID. And very different from everything we have got and experienced before. And this is totally different experience for us. Yeah? But this is not that we have stopped our lives. So that's why I think that, like with everything else, it's important to understand that every bad thing has got also some challenges, but also opportunities for us. And that's important to remember for everyone, but especially, I think, for the social workers, because social workers are on the first ranks. They have been helping people all the time to solve their problems, aren't they? Actually, during this time, I think that maybe each of us is a social worker in a way. So, this is just to describe how I feel and how I see the situation.
Great. Gradually we'll describe so many things, actually, as point of view, as a social worker, as a coach, as a mentor, right? As a solution-focused practitioner. There are so many things, actually, you are practicing there in Ukraine. You are training people. But this time, we are puzzled, we are panicked, we are stuck, we are stagnant, right? With so many comprehensive problems together because of COVID-19. Which is already declared as global pandemic, which is declared as global disaster, which is declared as global human disaster, right? Economic disaster, educational disaster, educational institutions are shut down globally, right? For some period, but with the facilities of online education, some students of different countries, especially the comparatively the better or the well-off classes, they're getting facilities. So irrespective of age, sex, religion, and country borders, barriers, people are more or less panicked due to COVID-19 scenario. So before coming to that chapter, could you please share us with your authorship of book, of mentorship, you work for the youth classes. How do you mentor? Because this time in Bangladesh, so far I could get the masses from news channels that the younger people, age 21 to 50 or 40, below this age group, they are the worst sufferer, because their mind is boundless. They don't love to be restricted. They don't love to listen any care voices from someone else. So they love to come out, just breaking all the barriers together. So as the coach or as a youth mentor, you have Victory. You have this wide role to play for the community, right? And please don't forget the title today. My vision is to upbring community through a vibration, having so many voices together around the world. Really, how people are living there and leading their life there. So today's we selected the topic is bridging community through solution focused approach or solution focused model, which you could better explain later on, I think. So how you, as usual or generally, coach or mentor youth classes there, just give us some ideas how people can, or how youth class this time can be happy, healthy, sound, and mentally fit and robust.
Yes.
Okay.
You have touched upon so many important things, Professor Habib, and I think that I have been thinking about our today's talk, and there are two things that I would like to highlight at this very moment. Mm-hmm. And of course, the solution-focused approach needs some more time to be explained. Yes, we'll have some time maybe in the future just to explain the solution-focused approach, because this is not that we are, we are solving our problems, but we are solving these problems in a very specific way. Yeah. But if I have to explain that in a very brief term or very, very quickly, I would probably present here the words of one of the co-developer of the solution-focused approach, Steve DeShazer, who said, problem talk creates problems, solution talk creates solutions. And this is actually where our focus is, because we could either discuss problems or discuss solutions. We cannot do that simultaneously. So we have to be very careful where our focus is. Yeah. And that's exactly what you have just said. You said that a lot of people with the COVID or in the COVID, they are disoriented. They feel helpless. They feel frustrated. They feel unhappy. And there are a lot of different, what we call negative emotions around. Mm-hmm. And if we have to come up with just one single idea that could help people in this situation, then my view would be that we should not concentrate on what is not working any longer, mm-hmm. or what does not serve us any longer. We'd better concentrate our attention on what is still working or what is already working. Because if you're thinking in terms of what is missing, what is not working, etc., you feel helpless, don't you?
Right.
When you start thinking in the direction of what is still there in place for you to move forward, then you get much more motivated. And then if I would like to take education as an example. Yeah, mm-hmm. And specifically, I will be speaking, of course, about schools or universities in Ukraine. At the same time, I understand that there are a lot of similarities in other countries. And by the way, I have checked the statistics, and I have discovered that in the world, in 135 countries, the classes were stopped. So students stayed at home, pupils stayed at home, partially, or it was a national closure actually, and 72.9% of students, they stayed at home because they could not attend schools and universities any longer. In Ukraine, the lockdown started in March, in the middle of March, on the 11th of March, to be exact. And you know, in the education, we faced a lot of different challenges. And I was thinking about the challenges, and of course, it's a stress, and this is something that comes unexpected. So you do not feel you are well prepared. If we're speaking about the challenges of that time, I would say that first of all, the challenge was, of course, to go online as soon as possible.
Yes.
And I wonder if you've got the same problems, because here, what we have discovered that only before the lockdown, only 12 to 14% of teachers were using internet for their classes, because they didn't need to, basically.
Right.
So they were using something to a certain extent, but they didn't need it. And the rest of the teachers, they faced this challenge to get this computer literacy very fast, because otherwise they would just not survive. Yeah. So that was one of the biggest challenges. Also, another challenge was internet connection, because not in every small village you've got a good internet connection. That's another challenge. By the way, there were some other challenges, of course. That was because students and pupils, they had to stay at home. So the problem was not only for them, and the problem was not only for teachers, but also for parents. Yeah. And I think that the most important thing during this process is actually how these roles have been transforming all the time, because all of a sudden, teachers are losing control over the class, basically, because they are at distance. And students had to learn very quickly new skills, like time management skills or self-control. Yeah. And parents also to exercise more, stop to exercise power, I would say so. This is a transformation of the controlling function, because if you cannot control as before, you have to learn how to trust more.
True.
That's very important. So yes,
Victoria, there are so many comments. Actually, so many comments came here. You will continue, but let me let them greet you. Actually, Hussein Ahmed, Assalamu alaikum, sir. Victoria, ma'am. Imran bin Rauf, hello, sir. Respect. Latif Kumar Rajput, very impactful speech, ma'am. He also wrote, "Not to wait, just fight and live." Very good comment, Mr. Latif Rajkumar. Razia Mukta, nice to meet you, ma'am. Maria Ellen Garcia from Philippines. Elena, of course, you will be with us. And of course, please put your comments. Victoria will elaborate all these things. Though time is limited, we'll continue this up to 10:30 so far. But please put comments, those who are already connected with us. Razia Mukta, yes, absolutely. All right. And there are a few more comments coming. So we'll go on. Please carry on.
Yes, thank you. So I have just described the challenges that the Ukrainian educationalists have faced, yeah? But I would like also to concentrate and elaborate a little bit on, not on the challenges themselves, but on the responded to challenges, to those challenges. So basically, what we had to learn, what were the opportunities for us around? And I was just looking for the trace of what was happening and what was helpful and useful at that period of time, because just sitting at home and being in despair would not help us, or complaining on what was not working was not helpful at all. Right. But there were a lot of helpful things that started to elaborate. And for instance, the Ministry of Digital Transformation, we've got such ministry in Ukraine. They have developed a special course for teachers so that they could learn how to work in internet, how to work with different platforms, etc. A lot of resources worldwide and also Ukrainian resources, they opened their courses for students and for teachers as well. Also, one of the national channels and also regional channels, they started to offer classes. They started to offer classes of the best teachers. So they were available to all their students in the regions and everywhere in the country. Also, a lot of web services started to be used.
Victoria?
Yes?
As we are talking, you are right, all right. In solution focus, actually, we should avoid thinking much to find the solution. Actually, our concentration should be, right, that you were telling, and this is correct. I mean, it should be, we should search for the better solutions soon, thinking so many hurdles, so many problems behind, right? But this time that is going on in our community, when we take a venture, when we take an initiative, we had to think so many problems coming and gripping us, so many problems stopping us really always. There is some bad thinking always hitting our mind that it might be this, it might be that, it might create some problem, right? So many players are there, but solution focus that you are teaching to your, the graduate students and the followers, also the corporates, that they had to go for the solution, right? But during this time, there are so many corporates, so many NGO officials. I'm desperately actually interfering you because so that we can be disaligned, right?
Yes.
So many officials, they are losing their job around the world, right? Even after they have skills. And there are so many graduates, they are waiting for job. So it's a very, very pathetic scene. Those who were already in job, they are losing their job for temporary or for long time. And those who are waiting for job, their circular is delayed, right? Their position is already vacant, but no way to be rejoined by someone because economy is down this time. So during this time, for the graduates waiting for employment and those who are losing their job, as a mentor and motivator and coach, how could you revive them really during this time, right?
Yes. So these are very good examples of problems.
Problems. Yeah, right.
Yes, and that's what you have just described is true, of course. And to me, as a solution-focused practitioner, it sounds like a little bit of the problem talk, but that's fine because so the problem is not necessarily a bad word.
Of course not.
I would like to come back to what you have just said, that we would like to concentrate our attention not on problems but on the solutions. But it does not necessarily mean that we forget problems, of course. We keep them in our sight, but let us just think it over a little bit. Imagine you've got a problem. Imagine you have lost your job, for instance, and so this is a big problem. Imagine you've got this problem or any other problem. When I start as a social worker, for instance, or a mentor or a coach, if I start to communicate with you and you've got this big problem, and if I start asking you questions like, oh my God, so why this problem happens to you? What's wrong with you? What are you going to do about it? How you're going to solve this problem? And I will ask a lot of different questions, and that's the way how we discuss problems. We ask what is wrong with you, how did it happen to you, what are you going to do, etc. And it sounds like a problem talk because we discuss problem. And the interesting thing is, that actually when we discuss problem for a long period of time, the problem is growing because we have been channeling the energy into the problem. And the problem grows. And you think, okay, I am powerless. I can do nothing about this problem because the problem is so big. At the same time, however, there could be a different talk, a different discussion. And instead of asking you what's wrong with you, I could ask you, okay, of course, this is not the situation, the best situation for you, and you must be very disappointed, but let's discuss what you would like to have instead. And this is the beginning of a different discussion, because when I shift your focus of attention from what you don't want to have to what you hope to have, even if you don't know exactly what you would like to have as of tomorrow, every person has got their best hopes, and their best hope is something that I would rather tie you up to, because there, if you channel the energy to what you would like to have as your preferred future, then you've got a totally different conversation. The energy is different, the words are different, the questions are different, and the result, the outcomes are different.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
So that's, for example, if you are talking to people who are in despair because they have lost their job, it's not that the loss, that's what we're discussing. We are discussing their best hopes for the future. And as you have already discovered, that what they have already in their lives from the future. Because some bits of the future is always in our life. They are always present in our life. But sometimes we just do not notice what is already in place because we're too busy discussing problems. And that's for us, the opportunity actually to pay more attention to what is there for us and what could be a contribution to our further preferred to our preferred future. So the questions we would ask, okay, so what are your best hopes? What you have already for what you would like to have in your life? Yeah, what resources could be? What other resources do you need? Who could help you? Etc. So there are a lot of good questions you can ask.
Victoria, all right, very good discussion. Actually, you were delivering wonderfully. It's done. Hussain Ahmed wrote a question, that is, how could students can gain skills instead of frustrations during this time? I mean, COVID time. Yamin Hussain, both speeches are crucial in present situation. Again, he wrote, some people's losing their job in this situation. I want to know that what is the future of losing their jobs? Please discuss. Actually, and Sabrina Sultanaria, good talk for this moment. Actually, this is a big concern.
Yes.
A huge number of students, they cannot concentrate on their education. So hopefully you just talk a little bit, but you will explain it more, how in particular student, they can enshrine their skills, right? They can actually unskill, enable to do so many things after this, how they can make the challenges to opportunities, how they can develop their leadership, youth leadership. As a youth mentor, you must mention this. And also another question is, this is a big concern around the world, people losing their job. Yeah. One group looking for job, another group losing their job. These two groups coming together, it's a big concern for the next world. So there is a question of community reformation, reconstruction, rebuilding community, right, Victoria?
Yes, absolutely. Now, I'm just trying to put down some questions because, of course, there are a number of questions, and I don't want to lose them. Yeah. Okay. So jobs, yeah, because we are concentrated on jobs at the moment and on the skills building. I was listening to a very interesting discussion recently, and it was about the jobs of the future. And of course, we know that new jobs have been created all the time. Yeah, and some jobs are just leaving us because we do not need them any longer. And one of the professors, he said that those students who those young people who would become students this year, for instance, they do not have to take their studies too serious. No, no, do not take it like what I'm saying is not exactly right. but he said that during whatever they would learn today, during their life, they will have to change their jobs and their professions maybe 4 or 5 times. So they have to learn all the time. Even if you got your profession today, then in 5 years or in 10 years, you might be in danger, or there will be a transformation of your of your profession or whatever. So you have to think in terms of, in terms of, this is not for the rest of my life, because you will have to change anyhow. From this point of view, I think that there are some really helpful skills that young people could learn. And one of the important skills, from my point of view, is resilience. And another, how to work with the ambiguity and uncertainty. Because actually, we cannot be certain of anything. Yeah, the life and world has been changing so fast that you have to learn new skills.
Right.
From my point of view, these skills are very important for young people. And again, if we're speaking about the solution-focused leadership, the key questions here are what I want, what are my best, what resources I've got for that, who can support me, what can be different if I've got what I wanted, what benefits will it bring to me, what will be different in my life. So these are the questions that really help us to be more resilient in life and to address ambiguity and to learn how to live in an ever-changing world. So that's actually, we have to learn how to be in balance. In balance, it means that, so we are friends with our emotions, with our inner self, and we are trying to harmonize ourselves with the outer world. I don't know if I have answered your question.
Great. Yes, you are proper aligned. Actually, nice question. There are so many young generations. They are waiting for job, right? They are waiting. They're expecting better salary, better place, better positions. That you are telling, you are prescribing. Actually, these all are correct. They should spatially have something to do, right?
Yes.
And this time, as institutions is off, office is off, they should properly actualize this time so that they can gain some understanding overall scenario, and they can make them fit for the post-COVID scenario during that time. They could be very up for that situation. But in social work, that I must mention, and another thing for my viewers and friends and audience, actually, during this, and also Victoria for you, during this COVID that I'm doing as a social worker, myself, I mentioned again, Habibur Rahman, I'm academician, I'm a social work professor, and I'm a practitioner, because I thought without practice, even my wife also tells me always that without practice, you can never be a good social worker. You have to go to the field. You have to practice in the field so that you can be a fulfilled social worker ever and ever. It's possible. And that I'm telling with you also, the young graduates, also the loser, those who are losing their job, they don't be frustrated. They shouldn't be frustrated. They should take this time as opportunity for their next time. I mean, after 2 or 3 months or 1 year, that you already mentioned, right?
That's very true what you are saying. Absolutely. And again, what you have just said, that so this is the period when we can prepare ourselves for something which is very different. And if something is different, we have to prepare ourselves in terms of skills and attitudes. Yeah?
Yeah, of course, correct.
Attitudes. And also you speaking about the COVID time, we were thinking recently with one of my colleagues from Germany, what would COVID left? Yeah, because earlier or later, it will be, or it is already incorporated into our lives. Some people say that the virus would never disappear. We have to learn how to live with this, virus. So it is somehow incorporated already into our lives. But COVID would actually the quarantine would be would be finished one day, yeah, and we'll actually in Ukraine we are already on the second phase after quarantine. So a lot of offices and schools and kindergartens and a lot of institutions are open now. And actually, what would be useful? The useful thing would be just to learn our own experiences, how we coped with this. It's not about what we were losing or what was wrong with this period of time, but the most important question is actually what we have gained. And these are all coping questions. And this is, again, in the solution-focused approach, we pay very much attention to the coping questions. What are the coping questions? These are the questions that help us to learn helpful lessons from the past. For instance, if you see a person who has suffered during the COVID time, and you could ask him, okay, so there were so many difficulties for you. There were so many challenges you have experienced. How did you cope? How did you manage? Yeah, because you have managed. Yeah, you have done it. And this is the moment of not to feel pity about his past or your past, but this is the moment to celebrate what we have learned during this time and how we could use that in the future.
Great.
So these open questions, they are I love them because if I have time for 3-5 minute story, I will tell you the story about open questions and how it is changing life of people. Yeah.
You carry on, please. No worry. Yeah, carry on.
I've got many stories of that. So which one would you prefer? Maybe from school, from the university? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that last year I was delivering a workshop in the university, and it was not actually a workshop. It was a kind of discussion with the students of the first year. And it was right before the exams. And exams sometimes this is a stressful period for students, especially of the first year. Yeah.
This is not sometimes, this is always stressful situation for students, right? It's true.
Yeah. And so I suggested that we will take just these concerns and their difficult emotions about the exams, because they all were a little bit stressed, stressed. And I asked them, okay, let us measure something. So and I gave them a scale, because a scale is also a very useful instrument of the solution-focused approach. We are using scale from 0 to 10 to measure anything. Just anything, because it's a very subjective. You don't need a research because everything you need just to look at the scale and ask yourself where I feel I am. So I asked them, okay, I'm not going to measure the level of stress, but I would like to measure the level of confidence. So on the scale from 0 to 10, could you mark yourself how confident you are that you would pass your exams and, in the best way you can? And they all marked on the scale where they see themselves. And then I was asking them coping questions. For instance, these were questions like, okay, what was your highest mark? How did you manage to get this mark? What do you learn well? What are your strengths? Yeah, what are your best skills, etc., etc. So all these were coping questions, how they have been coping. And then after an hour and a half, I asked them again to measure their confidence level. And it turned out, as you can imagine, that their confidence level was up, yeah? Because when they were thinking about their strengths, about their nice qualities, skills they have gained, and not about stressful exams or what they're missing for them, they just concentrated their attention on what was useful for them and helpful for them to know that they can make it, they are skilled enough, they've got they've got knowledge, they've got resources, yeah, And that changed the situation just within 1 hour and a half.
Great. But problem is when we are in exam hall, we do the opposite thing, right? We start thinking our difficulties, not the strength. Always,
Yeah.
my friend. That is the main problem, right?
It is, but you can train yourself to behave differently. Because
All right.
yeah, this is also a skill. The solution-focused approach is an approach, of course, you can apply it anywhere, and you can learn because everything can be learned. Yeah. So
Great.
if you learned to focus on problems, you can learn to focus on solutions.
Great. So, Victoria, there are a few more comments from India. Dr. Shakti, good evening. Good evening. Actually, she greeted us. She's our friend. Tariqul Islam, own aspects, everybody leadership. Very good. Actually, he tries to wrote here, everybody has some leadership. Okay, Victoria, another speaker at today's panel is Amit Rajput from India. Amit, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. Sorry for late, sir.
All right, no problem. No problem. We will just utilize this the next time, the rest of the time. So actually, we got shocked hearing the message that you shared me a few minutes before that you were just attending a corona patient in a hospital in India. So Amit Kumar Rajput, welcome to this Facebook Live today.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm so happy, and sir, I want to give the thanks. You have given a special platform for us, sir.
And let me introduce Victoria. She is here today from Ukraine. She is coach, youth mentor, corporate coach and professionals, and also she is a social worker. And she works on solution-focused therapy, modern approach. She is basically author. She has so many things, and you have also so many things. Victoria, let me introduce him with the audience. Amit Rajput, he is an academician, he is researcher, he is scholar, and above all these things, he is a promising social worker in India. So Amit, welcome to this show today. Could you please share something, Amit, with our audience now?
Actually, sir, in an Indian perspective, condition is not so good. Patient has over out of the 2 lakhs, and the main problem is that, sir, people are not aware. They are thinking that coronavirus is not a virus, is not a disease. It's only the rumors. So they are not accepting to the social distancing also. Sorry, the physical distancing. So it's the main problem. They are saying that we can't wear the masks because if we wear masks, then we will not get the oxygen and we will get another symptoms of the lungs also. So this is the main problem, sir. And as a social worker, we are doing many of things in our locality. Then we are doing awareness. But the people is thinking that it's not a serious problem. It's only the rumors which had been spreaded by the government. So we are trying to change the mind of people and the citizens who are not wearing, not obeying the social distancing and obeying the rules which has given the authority of government.
Yeah. Thank you. Same thing happening. Actually, same thing happening everywhere in the world. A class of people, not only a class of people, overall people, actually, they are bored. That is the matter, because COVID-19 that came to the human civilization after a long time, after 100 years as a crisis. So we the generations not used to cope up with this. That actually Victory was telling that coping mechanism, it's very vital during this COVID time. So I'm coming back again. Actually, I interrupt Victoria. There are questions. Shakti Prova wrote wonderful thing here. She wrote, there is a fear that many people will lose jobs. Please comment. Actually, we are on that right track to discuss. Auntie Hussain wrote, Victoria memory is so beautiful that the things you say to us are also very beautiful. Actually, Victoria, there is Victoria Memorial in India, Kolkata. So that is matched with you, the Victoria Memorial. So if you love to say anything, you can just share with the viewers, as your name is matched with Victoria Memorial, right? And Latif Kumar Rajput, a healthy discussion on COVID. Rajia Mukta wrote, I'm really delightful to meeting you, ma'am. So many questions are dancing through my mind. My first question is, how fresh graduates and job seekers can improve their skills this time? Okay, Rajia, we are on the right track of discussion. Actually, this is a comprehensive discussion. So many things are coming, problems and solutions are coming together. Latif Kumar Rajput wrote, I think in current situation, a motivated speak will work like a remedy booster. Very good comment, Latif. Anti Hussain, share a few words. The fear that has nothing to do with your name, Victoria Memorial of India. And Tahmina Rahman, hello to everyone. Actually, I'm coming back to again, Victoria, and after 3 minutes, I will come back to Rajput. Amit, please stay with us, okay? You continue, Victoria, that you were in.
Yeah, I'm just afraid that I'm taking too much time, and Mr. Amit has just arrived, and I was occupying the whole place. So I would like to make sure that he will have the floor, because he has a lot of nice things to say. I'm absolutely sure. Yeah.
All right, it's better. Actually, you are speaking quite a long time. So,
Yes.
Amit Rajput, it should be your turn as a social worker.
Yes.
I think social worker has so many identity. Social worker is a good organizer. Social worker is a problem solver. Social worker is a challenge taker, right? So, social worker is a crisis manager, a coach, a mentor. So many designation might be incorporated with the name of social work that actually
Yes.
Victoria has. So, Amit, how this time, as you have a foundation, already we have so many voices, so many ideas we have been sharing through this platform for the human being, for the human society, community, but we shouldn't forget our pet animals, our domestic animals, even wild animals sometimes. Those have some rights from us. So Amit, could you share some values added to your foundation that you are founding and also working for the animals and the people in general here in your area, please?
Yeah, and can I also add a question, because I'm fascinated of what you have been doing, Mr. Amit, and I wonder, we have not pronounced this word empathy so far, but of course we know that in the core of any social work is the word empathy, yeah, because this is very important to all of us, and I wonder, so if this empathy is somehow also expressed in the relationship to animals.
Amit, could you get her point? Actually, as a social worker, the term not sympathy, empathy, not for the human being, for the animals. How could you explain that? Very fantastic question, actually, from Victoria.
Firstly, I want to say that some views also that there are some less of people who works for the animals. Only the animals lovers join with us. They have the different types of the thinking and the love towards the animals. So we have 70 volunteers in our field, and they did nothing. They are doing the work as a volunteer. They are about to be a social worker. Means I mean they are the student of the social work, and we have a lot of team with them, and we had separate and make the small groups. They work in different area. During the lockdown we found that there are so many areas where the homeless animals like as the dogs or the bulls or the cows who are getting nothing because they were depend on the restaurant and some offices. So we decided that we will go that places, and we will provide some foods to them. Mainly thing is that uh, only there are many NGOs who are depend on the fundings from the private sectors and the funding from the government. But in this time of the crisis, mainly companies and industry are in loss, and finding the fund and getting the fund through the CSR is tough tasks for every NGO. On the other hand, government also not providing the fund to that types of NGO. So they were in a god strike in very big problem. So many NGOs who were active which were active before the lockdown, they were not active during the time of the lockdown. So we decided that we will collect the money and we will go at a door and step by step door, and we started the campaign, one chapati from one house. It was very successful. We used to go door by door, you can say, in every doorstep, and we asked for the one chapati from the one house, and we used to feed them at the time of in evening or in the morning. So that was the totally process we were using at the time of the lockdown. So, sir, as a social worker, I want to say something. Uh, in this pandemic, in this crisis, during this crisis, everybody is affecting, but main effect goes on upon the social worker, because the social worker is totally depend on, not every the social worker is not getting the government job. They are working in any NGOs or in non-government sectors. But in this time, every NGO is saying that we don't have the fund from the side of the government or through the CSR, so we can't provide you the salary. So is it the main reason a social worker is unable to motivate, because he is demotivating from the side
Yeah,
of the NGOs also. So it is a
true.
big task in front of the social worker.
Very good, Amit. There is a question. Actually, it's direct to Amit. There is a question. What should be the virtues or attributes or qualities of being a good social worker? Because social worker that Victoria mentioned that this time in particular, compassion and empathy, that should be the most foremost attribute in a social worker. And do you think what should be other qualities or virtues within a social worker or within a human being to become a good social worker? Amit Rajput, actually, Indian perspective or global perspective, what is your suggestions for the young generations to be a good social worker, right?
Yeah, right, sir. This question is totally related on your episode 9. I think today is the session is on the leadership,
Yeah,
leadership and the community work. Main thing is
yeah,
that
yeah,
in this time we have a lack of the leaders, because because we don't have any institution, we don't have any program which are going on for to create the leaders. There is a lack of institution, there is a lack of the program. So we don't have a expert of we don't have the perfect leaders. So we are unable to do the work in the community. So as a social worker, there is a need to do the work from the heart, not from the side of the degrees, not from the side of the books. There are many subjects like as a math, physics, and the biology, which is only done by the knowledge from the mind. But only the social work is is a course which is done with the help of the heart and with the help of the mind. We will have to use not only the mind, we should use with heart. So this is the subject. If you want to be a social worker, first of all, you will have to create the feelings of help or feelings of need in heart. After that, every person can be the social worker. But for the professional social worker, you will have to get the degrees from the different institution of the BSW or the MSW. So, first of all, you should create the feelings of help, feelings of love, not only for the humans, for also for the birds and for the street animals also. So anybody can be the social worker, but as a social worker, we have to get the degrees from the different institution. I am saying again and again these types of things. So there are many social worker who have the degrees and who had got the some diplomas also from the different institution, but don't have the feelings of help. So we should not get. Are you getting my point?
yeah. It's all right. Actually, a person can do social work. He can be a social worker after having some trainings or courses. But matter is in some parts of India, even in Bangladesh, Nepal, right, and Asian some countries, social work is not a profession. It's not recognized as a profession. That's why the
Okay.
mandates, right? it's not properly defined for this area. Actually, that is the main reason that we are facing. So Rajput, Amit, we are coming back to you again. Just let's talk to Victoria.
Hello?
Hello, Victoria. I'm just coming to you. I'm just coming to you with a question. Actually, this is not a question. This is his comment, some kind. If I think Saddam Hussein, Arun Banshal, it's very good work. Very good, Arun Banshal. Thanks a lot. Saddam Hussein wrote, every social worker may be frustrated a little or more. What is the reason behind this? Actually, before coming to Victoria, this is a matter of talk of frustration or motivation. Frustration and motivation is not only applicable for the social worker or other generations, but he is a social worker. So for Saddam Hussein, he's mentioning, because social worker, me, you, and Amit or other social worker friends has to go under pressure, go under so many complexities, because they has to do with the people. And without recognition, without government recognition, official recognition, without back support, it's very difficult sometimes to work for the community, work for the people. I'm coming back to, thank you, Saddam Hussein. Victoria and Amit Rajput also described this issue, but let me talk about the title. Today's title is Bridging Community Through Solution-Focused Leadership. Victoria, actually, this is your turn. And me also, I'm a self-motivated, I'm a self-boasted up person. Let me share with 30 seconds my previous career. Last 10 years, I have been teaching, but before that, I had worked with Emirates Airline in Dhaka Airport in Bangladesh. And in the previous, and before that, I was a corporate professional. Mid of the time of Emirates Airline, when I got the job, on-job training, initial 15 days, that was training period. And I was not good at in IT. I was not accustomed to airlines industry, aeroplane, and so many things are there, right?
What you were good at? What you were good at?
So during that time, when I couldn't cope up with the training, I got frustrated. Some other friends who were better in English speaking, communication, IT expertise, they were well up. They could do better. They could score good marks. But when I was in the backstage, out of 15 candidates, when I was approximately roll number was 14, I'm the last second from the last, I got disappointed. I got disheartened, and one day I came back home. This is a story, actually. This is my personal story. When I came back home, I determined that I won't go back again to that job because I cannot cope up. Then I just phoned to the secretary of my boss that time, country manager, and I just told her it's not possible for me to continue the job because this is very tough. I cannot. And she consoled me. She told me this is on-job training, but when you will deal with people at the airport, when you will deal with so many versatile people, with live computer, live people, passenger, right, and big bosses, you will be very confident. Doing work on job and doing work on practical, it's very carrying a very big difference, really. As a social worker, when we're studying at classroom, teaching at classroom, this and practice in the field, far difference. So coming back to Victoria, just focus on the term. In a community, there is individual is living, there is family is living, there is institutions is living. But how come leadership can be enhanced to bridging the gap of all sort of people? So we need some voices from you. Your time is 5 minutes. No worry, you can carry on, or more than that. Okay.
Okay, so, and I would like also to reflect what Mr. Amit has just said before, and also this is a question about skills. We have been discussing a lot today about what skills does a social worker need or require or whatever. And, you know, what I would like to to say, and I will come back to the frustration, a little bit later.
Yeah, sure.
But what I would like to share with you, actually, and maybe some of you would think that it's not about it's not about empathy, and it's not about being open to community, etc., etc. But this is very important, and I would like you to think about it. The first thing you have to learn is actually how to take care of yourself.
Right.
This is very important because, if you don't know how to take care of yourself, how could you take care of other people? Yeah. So that's very important. So this is the very first skill I would advise any social worker to learn, how to take good care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we mentioned already the resilience and, embarrassing ambiguity and leading in times of uncertainty. So we have mentioned all these components already. But so basically, the first thing you have to learn, and I think that every institution, every high school that provides training to the social workers should concentrate on how social workers learn to take care of themselves. Right. And this is the very first thing. And the second thing, which is very important also, I think, that you have to learn how to activate resources in the community. Because every person is resourceful and every community is resourceful. The only question is if we could activate this. Yeah, this is force actually, and how you could utilize this energy and this resources from the community. Because sometimes I think that many people get frustrated because they think that all the burden of the solution is on them. So they must find a solution. They must do something for someone else. And this is not true, actually. Yeah. Because if you learn how to activate and utilize the resources a person or a community has got already, but we do not pay too much attention to this, then you should not spend a lot of energy of your own, to do something, and it makes your own life easier, and that makes life of other people much more so people feel more empowered and fulfilled. Yeah, this is a fulfilled life. So let me just stress it again. So the first thing you have to learn is how to take good care of yourself. The second thing is you have to learn how to activate and utilize the resources the community have got. And now coming back to the frustration, because from time to time, all of us, we are frustrated probably or disappointed about something or anything else. And here there are a lot of different tools we can learn, of course. And as a coach, as a trainer, I would like to suggest you one, which is very practical. You could do that right now. So you have three circles, and this circle in the middle. So this is the circle of your total control. These are the things that you can control. And you will be surprised to see that there are a lot of things that are under your control. Because the only person actually in the world you can control is yourself. So everything about you is something that within the circle of your control. There is another circle, a bigger circle, and these are the things that you can influence. You do not have the total control, but you can influence. And there are a lot of things also there. And finally, there is a third circle, and there are some things that are out of our control. So we cannot control it. So this is a very simple exercise, which especially in the times of trouble, like COVID, for instance, it helps us a lot to be in a balance, because you realize where your zone of control is, and you stop worry about something which is totally out of your control, and you can increase your influence where you've got this sequence. So this is the tool that probably would help. Of course, there are other tools, but this one I would like to suggest now for all the students who are with us, and maybe not only for students, to do that after our talk today, and probably they would feel a little bit better.
Very good. Actually, this is the thing that we have to do, that you mentioned in a community. There are resources, there are problems simultaneously, things that exist in community. There are resourceful person, there are backbiting person, there are so many organizations, institutions that can help us, but matter is that you really mention we have to be self-caring.
Yes.
That's the root, that's the bottom line talk. We, the people, are not self-caring really. We might be selfish sometime, but not self-caring.
Oh yes.
Always, right? Selfish and self-caring is different.
Absolutely, that is a very good observation. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, that I love to do really. When I communicate with the people, try to enlighten my own hearts, because without a good heart, without an enlightened heart, nobody can make someone enlightened. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Before coming to Rajput, let me share just 2 or 3 points. During this time, during COVID-19, I have family, I have my wife, I have my children, my little baby, my 6-year-old child, my son has been suffering by fever last 6-7 days. That's why my friends most probably couldn't see me last 3 or 4 days. I couldn't make this plan. I couldn't communicate people, communicate my friends, and also prepare all these things. But matter is, it cannot stop me. It's my passion. It's my compassion. It's my promise. I love to do something for the people. Some person, there might be some person, they may feel disturbed that they are just talking. There is nothing. There is some group, they might get some essence from this. There is something. Without wastage of time, without idle, just closing eyes, it's better to interact somebody, right? This Amit and Victoria, this platform I have created, I love it. I love to communicate people. I love to make people communicate it. This global era, this globalization age, it depends on the communication. It depends on the social capital, and social capital is communication each other, right?
Right.
We are resource for each other. But the young generation, that I must say to my students sometime, also some of my previous and present colleagues, that do connect it, be connected with so many people. Stay forward. Don't fix up yourself. Don't be stagnant. Use your time. Use your time. Whatever you love to do, which is helpful for others, which is helpful for the community. So Amit Rajput, we are very delighted to have you here. Could you please give us some updates? Victoria, India is such a large country.
Yes, I know.
Such a big country. So Amit, could you give us some reflection on COVID era and how social worker, some new build organizations, voluntary organizations, doing support for the people who are sufferer, who are not sufferer, but sufferer by economy, by their job, small, entrepreneur. There are so many hand to live from hand to mouth people are there. So how they the efforts, social worker, the organizations are doing support beside the government in your area, in your province. Just sharing. I love to get some voices from you for our friends.
Yes.
Okay.
How do you
just so you have
cope? How do you cope?
Yes. How do you cope there?
Actually, sir, you have told one thing, that self-care and the selfishness. It's the main thing. All the community is depend on the both 2 words you have told already about the self-care and the selfness. Sir, India is the second populated after the China. There is a lot of population, but mainly problem is that there are lack of the rules and the regulation and the laws. During the COVID-19, everybody was safe, and he was in his house during the quarantine. But main problem was for the labor. There are so many labor in India who used to migrate one place to another place. There is one city, Mumbai. There are lots of the industries, and there are so many industries of the biscuits and cakes. You can say this many bakeries are there, and the labor migrates from one place to another place to do the work for earning the money. Main thing was there when a labor officer asked from the industry's owner that how many labor you have in your industry. So they used to told that we have only the 200 or 300. It means they had lot of the unorganized labor, unregistered labor was there. So at the time of the policy making or the planning, the unwrong data was the you can say was the evil for the government policies. So in this time, there are so many volunteers, and the non-government organizations are working and providing the foods and raw materials, as you can say, sugars, rice, and wheats also for the laborers. One thing was there was no any facility of the transport. So it was so hard to come one place to another place. On the other hand, there was no work for the labor. So it was the huge problem for the labor, because without money there is nothing. They can't earn money because industry was locked down. There was no work in the industry, so they used to start it on food. There were no vehicle, so there are many volunteers, not only the social worker, a simple citizen, a citizen of India, come out from the house, and they used to go work from since morning to the night, and they're providing the lots of food to all the labor. So this was the solution only there was going on. And there was the lockdown, so it was also the third way to go out. So there was administration was providing the permission, you can say the HTM of the cities, and we were also doing the work after taking the permission. So it was but on the other hand, I want to share something. In India, there are so many registered NGOs, but in my opinion, at the time of lockdown, only the such percent, only the 20% NGOs were active that time. So it is the big problem that if we are opening a NGO, we are getting the registration of NGOs, we are ready to do the work at the time of pandemic time, or at the time of the crisis, at the time of the natural disaster, we should do the work. But that time we do the work only for the name, not for the real, or not from the work from the heart. So it is the main problem in the India I have discussed with you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amit Rajput. Let's come to Victoria. Actually, before coming to Victoria, I have some observation in my personal life. Even I was when I was school student, I was very pessimistic. I cannot talk to people. I was very reluctant. I cannot deliver any talk to friends and also the teacher. And I could just recall my memory that when I was 10th grade student, and when I was supposed to give a speech in a farewell program of my senior batch, when I was assigned being the first boy of that junior batch, I was there in front of the microphone. When I just took the microphone in front of me, I got not likely senseless, but I couldn't see anything in front of me. House full of audience was there, right? In that big, I always share to my students that was my scenario before approximately more than 20 years. But after trying, I couldn't finish my speech that day because I was uncontrolled. I was over emotional. I was uncontrolled emotional. But gradually, I just took it a challenge that I have to talk to the people. I have to manage the people by talking, and Lastly, at the end of my graduation, I was not supposed to be a social worker, but luckily or unluckily, when I became a social worker after that being graduated from the discipline, I thought in social work, actually, Victoria, in social work, there is the essence of social work is that listen, then talk. More listen, less talk. And he can be the good person, he can be the good teacher, he can be the good leader, he can be the good housewife, he can be the good friend who has that compassionate listening power. Do you agree with me?
Yes, totally. I support you 100%, and this is very good point. Thank you to bring us to this point, because yes, that is very, very true. Listening skills are vital, very, very important for any social worker. And I could only add a little bit on what you have just described, because it's not listening, it's not active listening, as we know, but it's also listening to learn about useful exceptions. And again, it brings us back to some coping questions, or or questions that are helpful for any person social workers have been working with. Yeah, because if I can listen and I can sympathize with a person, I can express my empathy, etc., and that's fine. But I can develop in myself another skill. When I'm listening, I'm noticing some helpful. I'm having some helpful observations. For instance, so in the solution focus approach, we call that exception. So focus on exceptions, because nothing can be totally and all the time bad. Yeah, even very bad situations have got moments in them when things are better. Yeah.
Right.
Have you heard it?
Yeah. I could hear you.
Hello?
Please proceed.
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yeah. You can carry on.
Because you have disappeared from the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm now on. Could you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hello?
Okay. Victoria, could you hear us?
Are you back?
All right. Carry on.
Yes, I do. And you? Yeah. So can I just finish this sentence here?
Sure.
Can I finish this?
Yeah.
So that's sorry, Professor Habib.
Okay.
Mr. Amit.
You carry. It might internet problem might be. So Victoria, could you hear my voice? Hello?
I do not hear you very well. So I hear only.
Hello. So I think Amit, most probably she might be disconnected and she will rejoin again. So no worry for that. And we should. Okay. All right. Actually, internet is a big deal currently. The globally, right? Global issue now. Internet.
Yes. So you can be in the morning. You can be in the USA, for instance, and in the evening in Bangladesh.
Yeah, everywhere in the world, because users more, right? During this stagnant situation, everybody is waiting at home and they're just connecting with. And lastly, another 20 minutes, right? Another 20 minutes will be on set today. So just one thing, Victoria and Amit Rajput, just one thing, that is sharing is caring. Always that I share with my friends, and this platform this platform will be gone. And I do believe, as a social worker, I might not have capacity, ability financially to support people, but I have that much capacity to connect people and share their knowledge to other people, right? Make connectivity among people. And as a social worker, I should take some leadership, because worker is that person and personality who he or she has that much capacity to have some or hold some leadership to rebuild the community. And during or the post-COVID, during and the post-COVID scenario is dark also. After the COVID time, that would be a very tough time for the people.
For the social worker also, sir.
Yeah, for the social worker also,
It
because
will be the great task for the social worker in upcoming time, because he can't do the work. He or she can do the work in a community, because as a social worker there is a need to go among the pupils in the crowd areas also. So it will be definitely too hard for a social worker. You
Yes.
are right.
so during this time, COVID time, there is my basic question really. There are so many problems around the world during this COVID. All the governments are trying by their all means. Definitely, we should agree on this. All the governments, they are trying, but problem is everywhere, all the countries, there are cluster or class of people. All people are suffocated, but their needs and demands are different. They're problematic in different way, right? So this is a comprehensive issue. This is a community-based issue. Definitely, this is a community-based issue. So that's why we have just initiated this platform. This is Community Talks. And Community Talks, its effort is to focus and highlight community voices from the people, from all walks of people, all walks of life of the community people. So I would like to come to Amit Rajput from some voices from his state and also India, how you are the social worker practicing in field rather than academic lessons that you were giving to your students. And before that, just before coming to Amit Rajput, there is a session tomorrow, there is a session on 7th, there is a session on 8th or 9th. Gradually, we are being ready for that. So let's share our tomorrow's poster, the speakers that they will be present tomorrow. They will share their voices tomorrow. So let's share our some ideas of tomorrow. Tomorrow topic will be impact of COVID-19 among children, role of families and communities. Speakers, Deborah Aframson, she is from America. She is currently doing work in Bangladesh. Dr. Roma Kumar from Delhi. She is a senior consultant psychologist, and we'll introduce her tomorrow. And Manoj Kumar Sharkar from Kolkata, West Bengal, India. He is development activist and founder, lead consultant. And Ms. Shatarupa Majumdar, she is frontliner and field level activist, but she is chief functionary of Katakali Shapnapuran Welfare Society. So hope you will be joining us tomorrow, and you will share your comment and views tomorrow. You will, of course, put your valuable comments tomorrow's session. So let's come to Amit Rajput. How you are practicing social work, rather academic field, field work practicing.
Yeah, right. Sir, you know very well, a social worker is only for the field, not for the office. You know very well. Because
Right.
if we want to get a problems, we will have to go under the problem. If we will not go in the community, if we will not go in any areas which will fulfill from the problem, how we can get the problem? How we can get the latest social issues from the society? So if I am staying in my office, in my college, so it is not possible to get the what social issues is going on. In this time, we have done an online survey through the Google's form. We found that the people is wasting only the time. We used to say that time is money, but during the current time, the people were just only the wasting the time. He was thinking how we can spend the time. But on the other hand, they were getting lots of the social effects like as a mood change, behavior change, or stress also they were facing. So I think in this time, a counseling and the motivation process should be done in any community. But it is possible only when a social worker will go or we will create the camps with the doctors, because there is a need of some only with the counseling we can't solve the problem, because in this time everybody is facing the own problem. I am a social worker, I'm also worried about my job, I'm also worried about my family. Nobody knows that what will be the tomorrow, what is my tomorrow, what is my future. So it is the main problem. So as a social worker, we have created some teams. We will go in any communities with the with the groups of 2 and 3 people, and they will create some activities, some entertainment activities. I want to share something also. During the current time, during the lockdown, our government, our local government, and our administration was also using the Facebook. They were organized, they create a page, name is Fight Corona, and they used to come online, and there lots of doctor used to come online. They used to advise to the people how we can stay, we can fight from the coronas. And there were so many activities like essay competition, drawing competition, and other activities were used to organize by this sorry, the government. The people were so busy, the people
Yeah.
were so busy. In this time we will have to be see, if we will get got stuck in one point, we will got in depression, we will get the stress. So one thing is there, how we can go or how we can use the other resources to get a business. So if we are able to provide the work to other person, that he will not be the, or sorry, he will be the busy in that activities. So in my opinion, he will not get so stressed or the mood change types of problem. So as a social worker, it is the responsibility that some people will lose the job, and they will lose the job and have lost the job. So in this time there are the getting the problems like as a stress is the normal thing. So I think we should create the camps in the community for the counseling and for the advisory purpose. Thank you.
Very good, Amit. Actually, we will finish the session at 10:45 local time BDT. And before coming to Victoria, Victoria, are you with us now? Is she online or she disconnected? I'm not sure actually. Okay, she's coming. Victoria, could you hear me?
I'm sorry.
All right.
I missed a part of the discussion because I was disconnected. I don't know why. Sorry.
All right. No worry, no worry. We will be online next 11 minutes, right? 10:45 your time, maybe 6:45 we'll finish. So there are a few more wishes from the followers and friends. Shabuno Ostu, nice discussion, and Shujauddin wrote a very good discussion. Thanks to everyone. Mehrun Labuni, hello to everyone. Hussein Ahmed, Sam, Victoria ma'am, and so many other people commenting on inbox, just in messenger. Actually they cannot be connected so far. And before coming to Victoria, actually this is the last question for discussion, and last of all you will get 30 seconds to 1 minute to say goodbye, both of you. So my last question is, every challenges, there are some opportunities, every crisis has some good sides, every small thing has some bigger aspects, right? In community rebuilding process after this COVID-19 challenges, in rebuilding the community, reforming the community, restructuring the community, how we could suggest, request all people come together to put hands together to see a better community. So as a mentor, How could you put emphasis on this to rebuild community, to work hand in hands? Victoria.
Yeah, I'm sorry again. I missed the first part of your speech, but I think I've got your question. So, how could you help the community to build further? To develop further?
Right.
And I was listening before that. I was listening to both of you, and that was very interesting. And I really appreciate your sharing so many good thoughts and ideas, and and what has been working and what has not been working very well. And I was thinking about the communities where people think that a lot of things has been destroyed somehow or stopped working or whatever. So I think that if you look globally, you can always find exceptions. I mean, so for instance, something is not working for your community or in your community at this particular period of time. But there are other communities in the world, or maybe even next door to you, where it works. And this is learning from the best experiences, learning from what works already, and learning how to apply that to my own community could be much more useful than discussing problems again and again. Because as we were speaking from the very beginning, we were talking about problems and to solutions, and so we were actually comparing problem talk to the solution talk. So talking more and more about problems is much less helpful than trying to look for similar cases or other cases of successes and small victories and trying to learn from those. Does it make sense?
Yeah, of course, great. Actually, that is the reality in our society. Always before doing something good or something bad, we think the bad side, right? We think the hassle, some areas. We think the obstacle may be raised. But one thing we should keep in mind, second Queen Elizabeth just quoted that a good face or a smiley face is the half solution of any problem, right? And it's true. And a good study is half solution. So for a good studying, we should be motivated. We should keep us motivated. There might be so many hurdles, but if our goal is fixed that I have to go there, definitely we can go there. There will be some opportunities. There will be some problems might be there that you mentioned, really, and you are all right, perfectly all right, really.
Absolutely. It's not that we ignore problems. This is just I would like to shed more light or highlight or to keep focus on what works already and do that and do more of that. Yeah, that's very important. And any time this is, even there are a lot of cases of misunderstanding, and if just one case of good understanding, this one case is much more useful for us than many cases of misunderstandings. Yeah, so that's important.
Great.
We are where our focus is and where our thoughts are. So let's be where we would like to be.
Let's be where we would like to be. So let's come to Amit. Thank you, Victoria. Amit, there is a question and comment from Sujan Banerjee. Good discussion going on. Collective effort, collective consciousness could help to build a broken community structure or restructure. We can play the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, like Graham Shores, as vocal for local. Very good trusteeship to make a cooperatives for employment generation and earning. Very good. And even Yunus Khan also gave us idea of empowering our voiceless in rural. Shujan, thank you. Dr. Yunus, he mentioned, and actually Sujan Banerjee loved to mention Dr. Yunus' name, and Lalit Kumar Rajput, thanks Habibur sir to arrange such a tight discussion in current situation. Thank you. Let's come to Amit Rajput. Actually, this is your last time to discuss, 3 minutes time for you, as Victoria did. That Sujan Banerjee mentioned, actually, he quoted from the Mahatma Gandhi philosophy. So how could you match social worker philosophy and post-COVID scenario, actually, situation with that quotation? How we can work on this? Actually, Community
It's
voice is
right.
local
Mahatma
voice,
Gandhi.
right? Amit, could you hear
Yeah, it's
me?
right. As a
Okay.
social, yeah. As a social worker, it's right. What you have, you should share for everyone. You should share with everyone. Mahatma Gandhi used to say, if you have two chapatis or there are the four peoples, then you should share with them. No matter, only you will get the little of thing, little part of the chapati, but you should share with all other who have a need. So it's right. And for law, as a community, it's the right thing that if we are want to go for the strong community, you will have to create a good leaders. And for the good leaders, we will have to use, as a ma'am told already in the first time in the first session, that as a good leader or as a strong community, we will have to use the more resources, not a more energy. There is a need to utilize the more resources, not a more energy. It's the first thing. Or is the main, our prime minister also declared that if you want to strong, if you want to get the power to your community, you will have to use all your own resources, not of the outing resources. So is this time many people are losing the job. So we should create such a program, you can say, as a vocational training should be done there. And by the help of the vocational training, we can provide the business, or we can provide the job. If people can get own members and own leaders from the help of the vocational training, with the help of the vocational training. So as a community, we'll have to create the more SHG groups, self-help groups among the women. With the help of this, we can get more local things. As for example, there are so many women uh, who used to stay, and you stay in the home also. We can provide the things. We can give some activities like as creating the pockets with the help of the tellers, with bags from the jeans, bags from the newspaper. So, with the help of this, with the help of the SLGs, self-help group, or with the help of the vocational training, we can utilize the resources, and we go, as our Prime Minister said, we should increase the local things, not to the foreigners things. Thank you, sir.
Very good, Amit, for your nice discussion. Many thanks. And Victoria and Amit Rajput, before coming to Anne, I must come to you for a second. But as a social worker, actually, that I do believe there are so many problems around the society, community, but community as the title or as our key points is a community rebuilding or rebridging community through potential leadership, right? So who are the leader actually? That Victory is the leader, Amit is the leader, myself is the leader, and there are so many leaders there, right? If we just only depend on the political leader, community can never be changed because they are a single-handed person. So when we come together, when we join together and import our ideas and common sense and the decisions sometime, because social worker are also policy level, having policy level intervention, right? So social worker must have policy level thoughts where the social work is professionalized in Britain, in Canada, in America, right? And some Europe countries, Australia, Singapore, some Middle East countries, African or 2 or 3 countries, they have potential social worker, professionalized social worker. They're working together there. Actually, within my discussion, there is another comment whether Arun Banshal wrote whether one of the social workers should be responsible at this time of a global pandemic, Amit said. Yeah, of course. On behalf of Amit actually did, and Amit might get a minute time to just add few more points or a few words on that. But as a social worker, that I must give input on that. During this pandemic, social worker has a great lesson, great options, scope to do. Social work is a comprehensive discipline. Social work works in a holistic approach, comprehensive approach. So this time, as the problem COVID-19 creates a versatility in the society, in the community, with so many problems and opportunities together, So a social worker has that much opportunity to work together, in fact, in future and the present time. Dear audience, dear viewers, those who are with me, actually, this is our little effort as a social worker. My YouTube channel is Community Talks. Definitely my request, if you love to be joined with us, work together and do contribute for the society, please subscribe Community Talks YouTube channel. So Community Talks, this is YouTube. You might get me in Facebook page, that is Community Talks BD, Community Talks BD, Facebook page. There is a Facebook group to connect global social workers together, home, abroad social worker together, that is Community Social Workers Network BD, and my Facebook page also. So actually, as a social worker, this is my responsibility. Whom should I rely on? Whom should I depend on? I'm creating, I'm producing, right? I'm just mentoring so many students, graduates. So this is my responsibility as a social worker, to give them proper mentorship, to give them proper way out, to give them proper ideas and leadership skills so that they can contribute. Of course, I must say, last of all, that we should give our upcoming generation, proper leadership skills and mentorship so that they can take some responsibilities. Because step of taking responsibility, of course, kind of great sense of social work. So I'm coming back, last minute talk to Amit Rajput. So how you say hello and what lessons you learn from COVID-19, Amit? Time is 1, maximum 2 minutes. So please say hello and you're learning from COVID-19 for our audience today. Amit,
I'm getting some voice problem, I think, sir. Can you repeat, sir?
Actually, this is your last minute talk. We are close to the end of the session. So your time is 1 minute to 2 minutes, just to say hello and your experience and learning and positive side of COVID-19. Actually, what COVID give us, not take from us, right? COVID-19 has given us many things.
One thing is that there is one thing. If we want to beat COVID-19, we will have to create the physical distancing. But on the other hand, if we want to beat COVID-19, we will have to create the social touch that you are helping to the pupils. We are getting, and we are maintaining the physical distancing. But if we want to beat us COVID-19, we will have to get in touch, or we will have to avoid the social distancing. It is the main message for me from my side. You are getting my advice is that if we want to beat a COVID-19, we will have to maintain the physical distancing. But on the other hand, there is a one way, there is a one weapon also. We should not avoid the social distancing. We should avoid the physical distancing only. Because together we can win, or by going here and there we can win. By picking the distancing we can win.
All right. So Victoria, could you hear me?
Yes, yes.
This is also last minute or last 2 minutes for you, just to say hello and sharing your positive experiences, that you could cook food, delicious recipe that you could prepare, right? And you could get some facilities to use the internet, and also staying at home, just communicate the whole world. And there is so many facilities so far I could guess COVID already gives you, right?
Yes.
So please.
Yes. You have asked about the lessons learned actually, and what is good about COVID. Yeah, what were the nice things that COVID brought to us? Because there are a lot of bad things, of course, but still we would like to finish on something which is more positive than negative. So I would say that what we have all learned, and me also, the first thing, and this is I would like to resonate with Mr. Amit, and this is how to work together. Yeah, because this is very important actually, and this whole process was actually for us to communicate more closely, to develop more trust. Yeah. So if you ask for several words, I would say collaboration and working together, and then developing trust for each other, and learning how to be open for any opportunities. Here, I would like to bring us back to the beginning of our talk with you, Professor Habib. And so this world is big, very big, and it is very small, because you can reach out to a person at the distance of many thousand kilometers far from you. And then if you connect, you just and you trust this person, there are a lot of good things that might arise from this connection. And
Right.
that's the lesson that I think that we have learned together, that sometimes you are not afraid to reach out to other people, be it for help, or be it for friendship, or be it for contact, or for whatever. And you will be given this chance. So these words may be collaboration, developing trust, and using the opportunities would arise from anywhere in the universe. So thank you very much for inviting me today, and it was very nice to talk to both of you gentlemen, and to have our audience us very much appreciated. And I wish all of us good luck to go through the process, to cope with COVID, and to learn nice lessons, helpful lessons for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria, my friend, and Amit Kumar Rajput. At the end of the session, I would love to convey my heartfelt and fullest gratitude to Almighty, who has created all of us to stay connected and to share our voices still alive, right? And also having so many facilities like internet and so other facilities. I would like to convey my gratitude to all the audience and friends who are connected with us, and so just listening our voices, putting comments. Of course, my sincere regards to all the forces, police, defense force, and other forces of different countries, those who are giving service, right, during this COVID-19, doctors, nurses, and health professionals, and government and non-government officials, those who are doing offices, taking challenges to provide service to the affected and the victim people in different countries. And of course, the people, those who are living from hand to mouth, the wage earner people in different countries, those who were in tough time. Last comment, Ravinder Puri, good one. Thank you, Ravinder. Thank you, and Shravan also, thank you. So I do believe, as a community people, I have some responsibility. As a community human being, I have some responsibility. Why should I expect a better community rather doing something good for the people? If I just keep my hands together, not open for other people, how come should I expect that community will come to me as a good one? It's very difficult. It's very difficult. So as a community people, as a social worker, as a human being, as I expect a better community, I should contribute to create the better community itself. Otherwise, it's very difficult to see a better community. And in community, there is some sense like community people, our community has inner resources, outer resources. So during this time, as we have ample of time, so we can enrich our skills, caliber, right? And adroitness, perseverance, patience, right? Caring to each other. That Victoria mentioned, that Amit Kumar Rajput mentioned, that COVID-19 has given us ample opportunities to be socially connected. Before that, before 3 months, we were not so much active in internet that we are now. We do now, really. So it has given us a huge thing, really. And in family life, today I was sharing with my wife and my children that this is really wonderful time we are passing through, and others are passing through this wonderful time. So please don't be panic, my friend. Where you are, just enjoy your time, right? Be connected with your family members. Keep time them, enjoy with your kids, enjoy with wife and family members, parents, friends, long distance friends, just being connected with them. And also at least say hello if you cannot help them with money, right, with physical appearance. You can easily at least say hello by phone or internet or messenger. It would be okay. Last of all, I am saying goodbye on behalf of two wonderful speakers today, Victoria and Amit Kumar Rajput from India. Victoria from Ukraine. Actually, this dashing and fantastic lady, she is my friend, and she is coach, she is mentor, she is professional, I mean corporate coach, she is solution focused social worker. So Victoria, this is a really pleasant time we passed through today. And there are comments coming actually. My friend, please be connected tomorrow the same time and on 7 same time. Shakti Prabha, thanks a lot. You are always our friend. Well-wisher Shakti, Dr. Shakti Prabha, she is enlightened personality. Actually, she is working in an university and working with the children. And Abhishek Chawan, yes, thank you. Abhishek Alamgir Kabir, Ravindra Purian. There are so many other comments. So thanks a lot, my friend. Be with us and just be connected with community talks. Just believe on sharing and caring. If we can share, I do believe this is the best way of caring because we cannot be connected physically. We are just keeping distance. We are keeping social solidarity, keeping physical distance. So thanks a lot, Amit Kumar Rajput. Thanks a lot, my friend Victoria and my friend Amit Kumar Rajput. Hope to see you again. Stay home.
I hope so, sir.
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
Stay home. Stay healthy. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.